You have to wait patiently there while all the technical part is ready, but I need you there. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Wait there.
Okay.
Let's focus. The lamp is okay, light is okay.
We're good. Okay, I have a question for you. In your opinion.
Yeah, no, now
Quick.
I cannot now, sorry.
All right.
Just a second, I come to you.
I assume that you are the NeuroVIZR marketing.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
Actually, all is hosted by this Zoom account.
Okay. I need like 15 seconds of your time here, or maybe you can see on screen.
Yeah. I'm coming.
All right.
Let me finish some part here, and then I come. All right.
I think that's the answer.
Okay.
Okay. There's an echo, by the way, I think, from your mic to here. Okay, yeah, in the morning, my eyes are swollen. They go down. Right now, I still have some puffiness here. Okay, well, the question is, I have two kinds of glasses. I have these that I wear all the time. And then I have these that are different style. Which one is better?
The second one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, it is much more professional, really impactful.
Okay, as compared to this.
Yeah, the second one.
You like the second one?
I love the second one, but I mean, just aesthetical, cosmetical. It's
well, okay, but whatever.
Because the first one, this one.
This is the one people like this. They say that it more open. This one is a little bit more, academic, professional. It's a stronger.
This one for me, this one, but it is a style. I mean, I love this style.
Okay, so
and also because this the other one, you see some puff. This
okay, all right, then we'll go with this one.
Let's focus again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have water, fresh one?
I'm okay. Everything's good here. Okay. So now, do I let them in, or do you let them in, or they just come in?
I let them in.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
I hear you, yes.
Okay. I switch the microphone off anyway.
Thank you. Do we have an idea of how many people are joining us today?
Yeah, no, there are 50 people.
So maybe five or
we already have a 4-person in queue.
okay, so maybe 5 or 6 or 7, something like that, probably.
I don't know. And
okay, whatever.
Let's we have already 6 person in queue.
Okay, anyway, let's go. It's 8 o'clock. Let's go.
Yeah, yes, just a second. Okay.
Let's go. Hey. Tim Gray, absolutely.
Hello.
I feel like Tim, I feel like I already know you. We've been playing ping pong back and forth. So thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, and I feel like I know you. I've watched so many of your YouTube videos, but not all of them yet.
Sorry about that. Okay, and Javier and Ian and Sam, I don't know, we have apparently about 50 signed up, but most, I believe, kind of listen in or watch in, and we'll take care. Sam, I don't think I've met you, Sam. I don't recall. Marlon, so, and Paula, oh my God. There are a couple of dear friends from years past from California joining in, so that's really great. Ian, hey buddy.
Peace and love, Garnet. Good to see you again, my friend.
Okay, absolutely. Great. Are you in SK right now, or where are you?
Yes, I am, buddy. Next to the last line of defense, American Air Base.
Okay, there. Paulita, my dear
Hey,
friend.
Garnet.
Wow. Wow. I'll do this every day if some of the, and Marlon. Okay. These are some of my dear friends from SoCal, where I lived quite a long while before Thailand. Okay. Now I'm all like, warm and cuddly. Great to see old friends and meet new friends. Very good. Okay. So we have about an hour, which for me is fast. So let's make the best of it, considering that, of course, it's being recorded and it'll be made available to those that want to listen in and aren't available right now. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here, Friday in Thailand. I'm in northern Thailand, up in Chiang Mai. And we do these, with some new regularity, the concept of a coffee chat, meaning that this is not a formal, teaching or webinar. This is like if we had the chance to all get together at a local coffee, tea, or whatever, have a drink, sit around and talk for a while. I hope that we can maintain that quality of informality and a kind of almost a little bit of intimacy. So thank you. Thank you for taking your time. I do these at different times because I'm on the other side of the planet. And sometimes when we do these for more of the European, Asian, it's a different time of day. So, okay. Question, comment, whatever. Somebody start. Hey, Sam.
Hi. So I'm enjoying the ride I'm on.
Good. Yeah,
And
me too.
I'm feeling more comfortable in exploring the capabilities. I started out with sleep.
Yeah.
And I'll continue working that in, but now going on to the focus.
Okay.
And I just started that today.
Today.
So,
brilliant. Okay. Well, real quick about the sleep thing. It used to be a secret, but I've spoken about it so many times publicly that it might not be so surprising. I did not initially design the NeuroVIZR sessions to relate or enhance sleep. And then we got more and more consistent reports of people having different positive sleep-related responses. I don't know what's going on here. So I tried to develop a concept to support the reality, and I did that, but the concept is a concept. And then I began to better understand, so then I refined some sessions to do that. There are basically, I'm making this more short, there are basically two elements that I feel relatively confident as to why NeuroVIZR sessions, even in general, I mean, that was part of the secret, is the first reports, it didn't matter what session you use. I thought, well, shit, that's good, I guess. And then I refined the point. So without getting too technical, because it can be, one is the impact in the circadian cycle, generally speaking. The circadian cycle can be easily divided into two and then subdivided again. You're either awake or you're asleep. And we also know, obviously, in the sleeping state, we have this curious phenomena called sleeping dreams. However, in the waking state, we also have a subset that I'll call waking dreams. So, I didn't hear about that. You may have heard of the concept of hypnagogia and hypnopompia. These are, they were from Greek terms, and hypnagogia is the transition state between waking and sleeping, and hypnopompia is the transition from sleeping to waking. And we all have this circadian biology that generates these states. Many cultures in the past have placed strong significance on what I'll call the hypnagogic state. The hypnagogic state is kind of like dreaming. The big difference is sleeping dreams, you are emotionally engaged. And the waking dreams tend to be more of a kind of objectified experience where you see or think or hear things. but the emotional engagement is not as strong as sleeping dreams. And this hypnagogic state is not confined to the sleep relationship. That if a person during the day practices what I'll call generically deep conscious relaxation, that you can learn to slip in. I don't want to make it too simplistic and brain waves, but it's generally a theta-rich state. And that state is filled with non-linear processing. It would be false to compare it directly to a psychedelic or a meditative state, but it has similarities. So again, I'm taking a risk in simplification, partly because we have a limited time. Also, I don't want to get too technical, but that the NeuroVIZR generally, for many people, induces a temporary hypnagogic state. That's that state shift thing that happens pretty quickly for most people, is a very similar, or you could say an actual hypnagogic state. It's called parahypnagogia in the literature, meaning it's not a state restricted to only sleep transitions. I'll give, the two most famous, although there are many examples, the two most famous examples of how certain people tapped aspects of genius or insight. Salvador Dali and his surrealism, and Thomas Edison in his inventive or creative mind. Some people say that Einstein is the same, but Salvador Dali and Edison share something in common, that as I understand, Edison would put metal ball bearings in his hand, and Dali would put metal keys, and they would go into a deep, restful state. And as they got deeper and deeper into relaxation, the hand would relax and the keys or ball bearings would hit the floor, and it would alert them to, hey, what were you thinking just now? What were you seeing? What was going on? And they learned over time how to access this hypnagogic state. So I believe there'll be another reason as well. I believe that the induced hypnagogic or parahypnagogic state that happens with the NeuroVIZR actually supplies what I'll call the fourth state deficiency. In yogic traditions, the hypnagogic was referred to as the fourth state, because, waking, sleeping dreams, it's a fourth state. And even in, 1,000-year-old tantric literature, they say, if a person is not able to stay lucid in the fourth state, that they miss out on a whole bunch of other good things. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing loosely. So I think that we suffer what I've termed a fourth state deficiency syndrome. And I think a fourth state deficiency syndrome is a destabilizing circadian influence. If you don't allow any of the other states in a person, if you don't let them stay awake, you don't let them go to sleep, you don't let them dream, they will screw up. You can torture and even kill animals and humans by not allowing full circadian rhythms. So that's a theory. The second point is, again, a little bit technical. There is a phenomena of brain signal variability. Just like there's heart rate variability, the understanding now is that we have a range. I'm using my hands here. We have a range. The technical term is called criticality, critical state. It's like from physics. And that our brain moves up and down in more variability and less variability. That's healthy. We have to be able to do that. And there's even this beautiful thing called the sweet spot of criticality, where that's kind of your main reference. Well, by having decreased brain variability, that moves towards a temporary positive state that actually leads to sleep. It's also the direction of deep conscious relaxation. And you spend some time there and then you go on back up again. If you spend too much time going down, you kind of get stuck in the low variability. That's called, unfortunately, normal aging, unless you do something about it, that set point settles down lower and lower. You're less able to be variable and complex. You're more and more likely to be habituated, kind of fixed or stuck. Also, we have to be careful because that's also dementia and Alzheimer's is getting stuck down there. So what I think the NeuroVIZR is doing is exercising this fluctuation from more variability to less variability. And again, it's a kind of lubrication or maybe exercise, allowing a person to slide down when they need to slide down. I'll sum it up because I don't want to spend the whole hour talking about this one thing, is that I believe that a brain that can change when change is required is a healthy brain, that there is no single state that is optimum. You know, I compare it to a road trip across the US. You go from state to state to state to state. Maybe some states you like, some you don't like, more or less. But the idea is to be able to transit through different states when different states are required. And one of the most basic states that's required is, okay, I've been awake enough, now I'm going to go to sleep. That is a very fundamental circadian or brain signal variability factor. So as you see, I think a lot about it. I don't know if I'm right. I know the science that I'm referring to is correct, but that's, and then I did sessions to optimize that factor, and they're in the better sleep. So there you go. Sam, that's my long-winded answer to your comment. Well, let's move to the next one, just in case. I don't want to get stuck on one topic here. Anybody else? Anything?
I have a question.
Okay,
Sorry.
Paulita. Go ahead, Paula.
Okay. So, I've been using the NeuroVIZR for every day for a long time, and I do a lot of programs myself. I'm
Yes.
working with our friend Michelle
Uh-huh.
with his Parkinson's diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a fairly, well, I want to make it a quick question. I've been really focusing, partly because they're the programs he likes the best, but I've really been focusing on executive function and using a lot of the focus programs for him. Is there anything else I should throw in there?
Okay. I don't know if that's the best choice. I'm not saying it's the wrong choice. I just don't immediately say, yes, that's it. Why?
Yeah.
Because Parkinson's is an example, going back to that little quick intro, of the BSV, brain signal variability.
Uh-huh.
And what it turns out, apparently, I mean, okay, this is not my research. I don't have a university lab here with fMRIs, but the research is really relatively clear in increasing. Listen, the variability, when you put EEG on the head, it's like a volcano of information that comes out, and the algorithms choose what they want. It'll average things out, it'll throw things away. Up until very recently, like the past 10 years, all this variability stuff was considered noise, and the algorithm would cancel it out. Now it's like, oh shit, that's not noise, that's complex information. Uh-oh, sorry, we threw the baby out with the bathwater. We run outside, bring it back in. So it seems like, in a similar way to the sleep thing, that being able to allow the brain's signal variability to decrease in complexity and have more temporary ordered discipline is one of the reasons why. And there are other reports, not just Michelle is also a friend of mine, for those, like, that's why she's referring to him by name, that persons with Parkinson's and the tremors and so on oftentimes find a temporary, we don't know much more than that, but a temporary quelling of some of the negative manifestations. So it's like, we're not a medical device. I can't make medical claims. I can only theorize. Okay, so that's the kind of blackboard background. I focus in executive function. Executive function with the default mode network is like a teeter-totter in the brain. When one is dominant, the other is subordinate. The default mode network is it's called default because it's like neutral on a like a 4-speed transmission. It's called the default because when we're not engaged in a particular function or action, we go into the default mode, which allows you to kind of sit back. It's a rumination, daydreaming kind of thing. What's primarily most fascinating about the default mode is it apparently also generates this experience called me, the me feeling. And so that's why when a person engages in a focal task, executive network comes up, default mode network goes down, which is also flow state, why you get lost in your task and you don't even think that there's a me, you're so engaged with that. Fascinating is that psychedelics, for the most part, also suppress the default mode network. So the me feeling goes away, which is why you have a sense of oneness with everything, the universal quality of life. There's no little itty bitty me there because the default mode network is suppressed. Temporarily, that's okay. Long term, it's not okay. This is one of the characteristics of dementia is the default mode network becomes less and less functional. So the me feeling gets disrupted. So executive and default mode network, I think, like a teeter-totter, and going back to the other statement that I had, a brain that can change when change is required is a healthy brain. So I think, with the idea of exercising the teeter-totter might be more influential than accenting only one position of the teeter-totter.
That makes sense.
It's like it's great if you can do a back bend, but if you can't get out of the back bend, it's not so good to go in the back bend, right? Marlon, from your yogic past, you would concur. I don't do back bends because I can't get out of them once I'm in them. So I have a question then. What does Michel like? What sessions is he drawn to? If you can recall.
He loves the, I do everything. I'm across
Sure.
like I've just about. But he likes the one that focus on action, activity.
Uh-huh.
So he loves the focus. He loves the laser focus session. And all of that, really.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm going to make a guess here. I have an informed opinion. I don't really have an answer with absolute confidence. But with Parkinson's, there's a tendency to not have that variability elevator going up and down. The elevator is only going to certain floors more and more. I have a suspicion that those types of sessions might be kind of wanting the elevator to go up because it doesn't go up so well or down. So and I've already stated it today, I don't believe that the goal is a single state. I think it's the ability to move between states as movement is required. So I'm more of a fan of, like, okay, back to Marlon. I say Marlon because she's had a deep past as a yoga teacher, that it isn't that there's so much, there's not like one posture, one asana that is it. It's the ability, maybe more of a vinyasa flow, the ability to move in and out of postures, I think is more important than any one single posture. Maybe that's my philosophy. But the brain has a dual, kind of a yin and yang quality, that you have to have adequate flexibility paired off with adequate stability. That too much flexibility without stability sucks, and the other also sucks. So this idea of change when change is required, to me, seems most reasonable. And even how I construct every NeuroVIZR session is actually a compositional story of those two things, that I challenge flexibility, I challenge stability, some sessions more the flexibility, some more the stability. So Paula, I don't know that I think my opinion is don't believe, I don't even know how to say it. I'll go back to more simple. Work with the dynamic relationships as opposed to one being preferred over the other.
Okay.
To me, that's the safest answer I can give with honesty. You know, obviously it's more than a technical question for me. You know, you're a longtime dear friend, so I want the best for you.
Okie dokie. I'll work that in.
Okay. Well, Ian, red shirt.
Yeah, I don't mind waiting. Somebody else is talking there. That's okay.
No, we're good. Ian's in South Korea. He pleasantly, happily visited here in Thailand. We're new friends, and we want to do good things together. So I'm happy you're here, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Garnet. I enjoyed coming back and telling all my networks and friends that I met an incredible brain expert in the middle of the jungle in Thailand with wild chickens and everything abounding. And I know I sort of, jazzed it up a bit, but it's not too far from the truth. And it was an absolute pleasure. And it's a pleasure to be here with the rest of the community, by the way, listening already to both entries, with one which is related to the kind of thing I'm going to ask, and then also with the executive function and dementia type. Already an incredible session. Thank you, everyone. And of course, thank you, Garnet, for your expertise. It's I'm going to say it, and don't blush, it's staggering. So
Ian, you're way too polite, dude. Come on, let's go. Thank you.
I know. I promise it's the last time I'll do this. In terms of saying that. So what it is, with that, I'm very interested now in the hypnagogic state.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm interested in that because I'm working with the top leaders in Michelin Korea and soon Unilever Europe and Asia.
Ian does corporate immersive experiences and trainings, by the way. He's no dummy. That's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So working with them, and I want to take them to the next level. The hottest topic in the corporate heads of sheds, the CEO land, when they all get together in the Louvre and have a big convention and stuff, right now is engagement. Underneath that, it's supported by psychological safety, but I want to, today anyway, quickly mention engagement. I feel even more so with what you're saying about parahypnagogic states. It could well be linked to bringing that ability for not just the leaders, but the teams and the employees to at least train their brains to be more adaptable and to that ability of engagement at work. Now, engagement isn't necessarily the social engagement system of the nervous system like that. That's not how they think about it in the corporate land. It's mainly things like emotional engagement, cognitive, behavioral, and social. In other words, how do they feel when they're at work, before, during, after the day, connected to their people? Do they feel connected to their mission? Do they have that sense of unity? So all of a sudden, and I've never heard this ever before, that state you're mentioning, Garnet, parahypnagogic state, seems to be that, because it's not asleep, of course, and they can probably do this training in work or before work during the day. But the clear thing for me, if I sum it all up, is what you said there. It's with emotional engagement, because that's what's giving people this ability to satisfaction and everything else. What happens is they get check-ins monthly, quarterly, and then 360 reports at the end of the year, where they are allowed to say what the hell they like. Sometimes it's anonymous, saying, how do you feel about things, the company, the mission, the value? And the companies that those rates are going up, I mean, to them, it's the Holy Grail. So what I'm saying is, if there's a program with advisors I can give these people, I mean, is there one? Is that one of the programs? And I mean, is it that easy to just, again, also that variability? Now I'm thinking, not how would you then? You don't want them to be up there all the time, do you? So there's my question.
That's a hell of a question. The answer is no. No, I'm joking. Let me talk about it. All right. I think, I'm sitting here in an office. It's a business here in Thailand. It's called Lucid Studios. The word lucid is the element here. What does lucid mean? Well, as a word, in the English language anyway, it has basically two meanings. One is lucid means full of light, looks luxuriant. Lucid means full of light. But in this case, more appropriately, it means clear perception. Clear perception. You know, let's say you have an accident. I hope you don't. You end up in the hospital. They want to know, are you lucid? Do you know where you are? Do you know your name? Do you know what happened to you? They want to know, are you lucid? Are you having, despite the circumstance, do you have some clear perception of what's going on? And, you know, a little earlier we were talking about sleep. I said sleeping dreams. I think many people have at least heard of the concept of lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming. What does that mean? Well, it means that you're dreaming, but you know you're dreaming. And it goes on quite a lot past that in, you know, yogic processes. So the hypnagogic state, every person here and anybody listening at any point, we biologically, not psychologically, we biologically enter into that state twice every 24 hours. It is that fundamental. It's that fundamental that it's a biological necessity. We wouldn't do it twice a day if it wasn't important at some level. The problem is, or a problem is, that we aren't culturally inspired or instructed to even know that it's there and also to take advantage of it. So there is an ability to conjure, practice, develop, whatever the verb is, this quality of introspection, but without the emotional connection. So you can be a little bit more dispassionate and have these ideas and these insights and these visions and things. You know, once you say, well, wait a minute, this happens, then, wow, the first thing is that it exists. And as I said before, you can learn how to do this so that it's not bound by the circadian biology. It's a biological state that we can enter into. For example, in the circadian cycle, it dips down to its lowest daytime at around 3 in the afternoon. That's the famous siesta time. You know, it's that afternoon nap time, because the circadian cycle metabolically drops to its lowest waking state in the middle of the afternoon. And that's the perfect yin-yang thing, you know, in the Oriental meridian clock, that's the beginning of yin rising, and because 3 a.m. is the beginning of yang rising. It's like, wow, this is really true. So people that learn, this is the Einstein thing. Apparently he used to take short naps. I oftentimes take short naps here, but they're not naps. It looks like I'm taking a nap. Sometimes I do slip into sleep, but I practice deep conscious relaxation. You can think of it as meditation if you want, although, you know, there are formats for meditation. And this ability to change when change is required. Like, can you relax when it's time to relax? It's fundamental. And categorically, in most cases, the answer is, well, not really. Not really. You know, I can, so, you know, Ian, to shortcut back to some kind of a reasonable answer, it's the demonization of midday rest periods, to demonize that in the corporate world. Yeah. And the other is to give a promise of what you can gain from deep conscious relaxation without going to sleep. You know, that deep conscious, I say conscious, I'll say deep lucid relaxation gives access to this biological nutrient. I say we have a fourth state deficiency syndrome. A fourth state deficiency syndrome, you could say it differently, that we don't give ourselves in our 24-hour period the time to relax and stay lucid. That if we relax, we tend to conk out. Why? Because we're mostly stressed and sleep deprived. We slip, boom, right into a deep, you know, that afternoon nap where you wake up, you don't know where you are. Well, you know, that was a very slippery slope. The idea is to start to like gentle down into that state, but stay lucid. And it's a cartoon show. All kinds of, you see these things, and I'll stop now. I want Javier to get a question in here. That people ask me sometimes, how do you know how to do all this stuff? Okay, so I'm smart, number one. Number two, I do a lot of research. There's all the stuff that would make sense. However, I also have to say, well, a couple of things. One, I won't say because it's maybe too weird, but I get and have gotten much of my insight on how to design the NeuroVIZR sessions while I'm having a NeuroVIZR session. That, you know, I have something, and then it's just like, boom, oh, there it is. Wow. Also in the hypnagogic hypnopompic, for me, the hypnopompic works better for me, but this is true for a lot of people. I have something on my mind. I think, oh, this, that. I wake up in the morning. Okay, I'll sit, you know, I'll sit to do a little bit of what I'll call meditation, and like, boop, 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 boop. It's just, oh, there. In like 5 seconds, I get it. And that to me is the beauty of the hypnagogic, hypnopompic element, that there is access to a lot of information there that we have processing. We just can't do it very well in a normal conscious waking state. So I would say to demonize what looks like afternoon rest, to frame it differently, that it's a concept of getting a person to appreciate an access to information that is not driven by cognitive effort. Something like that. We'll talk more, Ian. It's a big topic. Javier, you've got your hand up, dude. High five. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, where are you? Where in the world are you?
I am in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Sir, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of y'all.
All good, buddy. Thank you. Nice to meet you. What's going on?
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Hey, I just want to ask, one of the reasons I got into the NeuroVIZR, I'm a dad of an autistic kid.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out if there's some kind of information or recommendation that you can give me where to start with working towards autism. I know autism, it's a big spectrum.
Yes.
You know, I just want to get your educated opinion on it.
Okay, I'm happy to give you my opinion, Javier. And I know you're a good dad just because you're asking. So rock on.
Thank you.
How old is it a son, did you say? A boy?
Yes, it is. 13 years.
13, okay. From a legal posture, we make recommendations to have the NeuroVIZR for 18 years or older. That's conventional and understandable. I'm not trying to hide the fact that it's a legal framework, that because we have a consumer product, that we have to have that as a benchmark. The other is, there is beyond independency, because I say, you know, that if somebody has a NeuroVIZR and they choose to use it on somebody under 18, then that's parental guidance or the guidance of the caretaker. It's also conventional. Kids under 18, especially under 12, are more neurologically sensitive than an adult. So the concept of a photosensitive seizure, that possibility increases somewhat with kids, especially under 12. So it's also some wisdom there. It's not just a legal issue. There is a neurological caution. Now, I'm aware of, because people report to me, of a number of parents using the NeuroVIZR with their children. And by their report, apparently with very positive experiences. And okay, bravo. Keep going. I guess it's up to you. Now, autism. Earlier, I talked about this criticality thing, brain signal variability towards flexibility or coming down towards stability. Both are good, but you don't want to get stuck in either one. There is this sweet spot. In autism, according to the research that I have access to, the variability is settling down more and more into the overly stable, meaning it can be kind of stuck. And the idea of unsticking a stuck brain is good for all of us because we all kind of get stuck. It's called habits. However, in autism, it is a or lack of understanding, like why? Why is this happening? And there are a bunch of theories, you're well aware, some of them controversial. So I'm in the school of do as little as possible to achieve as much as possible. Right. I'm much more interested in triggering threshold than I am in encountering maximum tolerance. So baby steps, I would say. I think the concept would be, and I think this, the concept would be by gently increasing variability by complex stimulation may show some kind of benefit. But what we know just from basic exercise, you can do too much too soon, and then you get a counter reaction. So a little goes a long way. Put some sugar in the medicine, you know, that's a bad analogy anymore. But anyway, what's your experience so far? May I ask you, if you don't mind?
Oh, for sure. It's been mesmerizing, to be honest. He's very hyperactive, and just by the fact that he could be in some sort of meditative state for 5 minutes, to me, it's a breakthrough, you know?
Yes.
So what I've been doing, because of the time that it takes, I've been doing the 5 minutes. I believe it's on the brain gym side of it.
Yeah,
which I'm
bravo.
working towards, you know, just working towards small steps and going, you know, little by little. And as far as we go, he wants more. He's interested in more. He's verbalizing a lot of stuff after the therapies. So
that's good. That's good.
Very amazing. It is very amazing. But you know, I'm just playing around with it myself. So I was trying to, you know, get some kind of guidance for it. But I do understand.
Yeah, we don't have any medical studies, and that's the simple fact. I look at the neurological research advancing in all these areas, including autism, and it seems to be something about this capacity to change when change is required, that there's no one state to pursue, that it's the ability to move from one state to the other. So the fact that he calms down, that's great, because usually, you know, when you get stuck down low, then the compensation is hyperactivity. The system wants to get out of it, and it'll create a lot of hyperactivity. So I think what you're doing sounds positive. I believe that you're cautious, and that is okay, let me do this, if you don't mind, Javier. Let's set up some private discussions so we can spend more time. Right now, we're a little limited on time, and to me, this deserves, just because you're doing the right thing, and I want to help you as much as I can. So let's talk some more privately. Would that be cool?
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay, rock and roll. Dear Marlon, hi.
Okay. Hi there.
Hi.
Well, I feel like after your glowing intro before, I should ask very sophisticated questions, but it's a really simple one.
Yeah, I love them.
And it's that I can't seem to figure out which programs I need to use to accomplish certain things. I have certain things that I want to accomplish, but I'm really not that clear on which sessions to go to.
Sure. What do you want?
Well, what's happening for me is that I need to make some like sweeping life changes. And the nature of, you know, life in the city of Los Angeles, and, you know, 6 million passwords, and everybody's got a third-party company you have to go through. There's minutia. The minutia, I think, is very distracting. What I'm hoping to do is to be able to focus on larger projects. You know, things like finding a home.
All right.
Figuring out where to move.
Hit me with the question 10 words or less. See, because this is actually part of the process. What's the question?
The question is there a roadmap somewhere that tells NeuroVIZR users which program is for which effect or result?
Okay. Are you aware of the personal guide document in the website?
I think I downloaded that a while ago.
Okay, I think you might want to read it because it'll help. I'm not being facetious with you. You're my dear friend. But I would say that, like, it's a super potent question, and I understand it. Sometimes people say, you should just give me a lot less because you have too many choices. I said, well, I don't know. I'm like a Chinese restaurant, So,
is everything on the app already, or do we need to go and download specific stuff?
No, there's more on
It's
the
all
app.
there already.
Yeah. There's everything that you need. Everything, but yes, I think it's extent. So okay, bodily exercise is effective mostly because of regularity, not intensity. So having some amount of repetitive reinforcement or regularity is going to benefit you. If you jump to this, today I'm doing aerobics, tomorrow I'm doing, CrossFit, tomorrow, or I'm not doing, now I'm just taking, don't expect much somatic. The brain is physical. Everything that you know a ton about the physical body. Just about everything you know somatically applies to the brain. So I would say choose what seems to be reasonable and return to it regularly. And I suspect that you will find some attraction and benefit there, that ability for the elevator to go up and down. But you have to get off at certain floors and stay there for a while. To ride the elevator up and down every day is not the point. Take it up where you need, go down where you need. I would advise in the personal guide, there are protocols, and I think the protocols might be suitable for you. And I would advise you to engage in a protocol and see what you get.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Great.
Tim,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
And we can talk privately anytime. You know that. Any of you, I'm being a little bit liberal here, but, contact me through Daniela. And he helps massively in organizing Lucid Studios and schedules. Given the opportunity, I'm very happy to make relationships and talk, privately according to mutual schedules. So, you have that with me to the best of my ability. Tim, what's up?
Yeah. So my question is about habituation.
Got it.
You mentioned the idea of a primal language the other day. And I'm wondering if the brain can become so proficient in understanding that primal language that maybe the VIZR's effectiveness in enhancing neuroplasticity, which kind of depends on it being disrupted or encountering the unexpected, might interfere with over years or months perhaps, might interfere with its ability to promote the neuroplasticity that seems to be fundamental here.
It's a question I can't answer in confidence because we don't know. However, I'll give you my my informed guess is that the appetite keeps refining itself, and that I don't think it hits a wall. I think you can keep on, like a musician. Is there really ever any end to the creativity of music? Because I use the delta dynamics that are found in music in the process. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is I'm going to ask you to repeat the question, but in a slightly different way, because I think I only partially appreciate what you are thinking. Can you say it again, please?
Okay, so one of the fundamentals that I understand, and you can correct me if I'm on the wrong path, is using the VIZR to enhance neuroplasticity.
Correct.
And it does that by gently nudging the brain towards a state of disorder. And
yes.
so if the brain becomes
in part, we'll go
accustomed,
back to that. Okay,
okay,
come back. Okay.
So as the brain becomes accustomed to the language that NeuroVIZR provides, I'm curious as to whether that nudge towards chaos, if you will, becomes more difficult and less effective over time.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think so. You know, Segovia, you know, a master guitar player, is said to, this is me, and I hope it's true, is said to have started most days by returning to the scales. And I think that we can nudge the set point. I mean, you know, Tim writes a good deal back and forth, and I really appreciate your style of thinking. So this kind of question, you know, I have a big appetite for. I'll say it this way. Maybe it's only a sideways answer. That right now, I think there is a danger with the concept of frequency. That it's to me, a new version of the magic pill mistake. The magic pill, from the chemical point of view, that if you take this one magic pill, it's going to do everything because it's kind of magic all in one. And I think that right now there is a tendency to move towards what we'll call the magic frequency mistake. Like, oh, what's the frequency? What's the frequency? As I say in other examples, it's like asking Jimi Hendrix or John Coltrane, what note did you play? The NeuroVIZR is not frequency centric. And Tim is referring to this, by the way, that it doesn't posit that a certain frequency is the goal. It's the relationship between frequencies as to how the brain functions. And we see that musically with notes, that what note comes first or last, or that it's the dynamics of movement. So the concept is that if you kind of surprise or confuse or destabilize the brain, it gets the brain's attention. It's like, huh, what's that? And that process of getting attention is a first fundamental step to neuroplastic stimulation, that something has to get your attention. And over time, if I'm understanding you, Tim, would the attention grabbing methodology of the NeuroVIZR become less and less effective because the brain becomes habituated to that? Is that what you're asking? Exactly. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. A part of why I have many sessions is the fact that there are many kinds of music. There are many kinds of songs. So every session has that element built into it where I try to make an appetite, because the brain is always looking for patterns. It's always looking for signal and noise. That's what our brain does. It's a pattern-seeking probability organism, and that's fantastic. So how can you get attention? Well, it's like a joke. It's humor, you know, a violation of expectation. And I think, this is what I think, Tim, is I think it's like getting hungry for food. There's a need for food, and I don't think the body gets habituated to appetite so that it doesn't make you hungry anymore. I think it's at such a primal or first language level for, you know, kind of neo-Darwinian adaptation and survival. I think anytime that you confuse the brain, I think there's still the appetite hunger reaction where you'll get attention. So I think maybe it'll decrease a little bit over time, but you know, weird. I get hungry like every day. And I think that mechanism still works. So I don't know. That's like a half-ass answer. We'll talk more. I like to, Tim has got questions that are provocative, and I love his thinking. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get to it. Okay. Then I was like, oh shit, I don't want to ask a question. It's too weird. Come on. What else? Anybody? Ian? If you have. Mute.
Okay, thank you guys. A brilliant question and brilliant and great answer. I don't know what it is. There's something keeps on filtering into my head about the salience network in the brain.
Yeah.
Is that the thing that is shifting the attention maybe between exec and DMN?
Well,
or memory and imagination? Is it, does the visor actually strengthen that over time via the salience network? If that is the, let's just say, horrible word, fat controller.
Yeah. For those that aren't up in their neurology, the brain we used to think certain places did certain things. Now the realization is that's true, but they get together and they do special things like a team. It's like an Olympic team, for basketball, US, I follow that. So that you get these players from different teams and you temporarily put them together to do something. So we have these things called networks, and they come together and go apart depending on need or demand. So the salience network is the one that it's kind of lets you, like, what's going on network, that attention is like the most mysterious thing in the world. To me, the primal psychoactive agent is this thing called attention. What do pain and pleasure have in common? They draw our attention. Would you please give me your attention? Come on, pay attention. Can I have this thing of attention? And the salience network it's kind of like a diplomat from the United Nations. It doesn't have allegiance to any one country, any one state. It's this ambassador that tries to negotiate things. I don't have the salience network in the brain organizers. If in the brain gym, there are different categories. One category is called brain organizers. A couple of years ago, I came across crazy research from an Australian university where they mapped the harmonic frequencies of these major brain networks just because they could. They had the technology, and I freaked out. It's, oh my God. They lay what frequencies and what ratio of frequencies are native to these different brain networks. So I said, well, here they are. And I formatted those into sessions. So that's in the brain gym. You have brain organizers, and the brain organizers are the brain networks that they researched, limbic and executive and default mode and ventral control and so on. They did not investigate the salience because the salience was not sexy enough at the time. So I'll admit an interest, an appreciation, but also ignorance. I don't know about that in relation to the NeuroVIZR. We can talk about it neurologically, but that's not the point. So I have a suspicion that almost any attentional demand involves the salience network. So I'm thinking that the effects are more generalized to the salience and not targeted to the salience. And this might be totally meaningless to any of you that don't have that kind of language reference. But I think what is, when we say a lucid thing, that ability to maintain attention without tension. Attention without tension. That's that ability. And in the Buddhist traditions that are hot now with mindfulness, that the first thing is the shamatha practices, where you learn how to pay attention to a single point. So you pay attention. It's a neurologically top-down process. Once and there are 8 levels, nobody bothers with them anymore because everybody wants to be mindful and do vipassana. Then you go from the shamatha focus, and the attention now is on a fluid set of stimulations and not at a single point of stimulation. So your thoughts come and go, your breath comes and goes, that it's not single and stable. So it's moving up into variability, and you can still ride the horse. Then you go into very complex vipassanas where it becomes a non-referential, and then eventually you lose the duality and you go into the non-dual practices where the line between meditation and not meditating melt away. So I think that these are, of going from meditative traditions, these are all different ways of exercising the ability to shift states in and out and to become better and better at attention without tension. And I think that's kind of like I don't know what that is. It's my best shot with poetry, I suppose. But yeah, yeah. Okay.
That absolutely resonates, like especially with what you're saying about variability in the Shamanto Vipassana. Seems to be what they're trying to achieve in those protocols.
Well, there's enough neurological research on these meditative traditions now, that I access, and I built that recent meditation collection, that, we don't know whether the brainwave states are the evidence of the functionality of meditation or just kind of the artifact of a process. That doesn't really matter. But we do know more about why meditation works, and the fact that if I say meditation, it's like saying the word exercise. There are what's the commonality of exercise? Well, there's movement involved, but Qigong and CrossFit are not the same, yet they're exercise. And I think when you say meditation, what's the commonality? Attention. Like how do you do this thing called being aware? And do you narrow it down? Do you open it up? Do you chant it into, relativity, or do you just open your mind? It's like, oh, there's no meditation, that it's a progression. And I think everything that we like, there are a few of us here that are probably, over 15 years old. And the idea is, wow, understand, like, the wisdom aspect, trying to get the juice out of the lemon, so that it's not so much of a romantic, sexy journey and a bunch of ideas. You want to know what really works. So the less is more becomes really apparent. And I really believe, as we hit the top of the hour soon, that simple things done well work well. I think moving towards simplicity whenever possible, but was it Einstein? Things should be as simple as possible, but not too simple. I forget something, but the idea of what's the principle here? How do I relax? Like, what the hell is relaxation anyway? Okay, so all right, dear Paula, Amir. You're up, and Paco. Oh, there's Paco. Hey, buddy. Amir, you're up in the right-hand corner of my screen. You're on mute, and I don't see you. Do you really exist? Well, do you have a question? I'd like to at least meet you if we can have a brief moment. Is that okay? All right, next time. Beautiful. Paula, any more, dear friend? Paula has been using even the prototype to the NeuroVIZR. I think, you've been using this thing for years. And at this point, I regard you as more than an informed user. I think you're probably fully capable of teaching a lot of things because of your experience. You're on mute, dear. You're on mute. Dear Paula.
I really recommend using the personal guide. It helped me a lot to navigate.
Okay. Well, thank you.
It really did.
How did it help you? How did it help?
Well, because, I need to know details about everything because so I am.
Yes, you do.
And
Paula was the manager of one of my former businesses, so yeah, she's good.
And yeah. I had particular things I was trying to accomplish, and some major issues, and I was able to really look like, I think I'm interested in this, and I recommend following the protocol for some of the things, because it really is a good basis. I mean, I've used I love the meditation, Tibetan and the Zen. The others aren't so much my jam. And I use the sleep because I had a sleep disorder after a health crisis. I do the brain, like the old neuro, like brain, exercise. I do that twice a year.
Got it.
And I love it.
Okay. Well, I love you too, Paula.
Okay. Communication. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Is that the same as the routines book?
Yeah, a guide. It's a personal guide. It's like that.
I have a file that's called routines book.
Well, I don't know what it's called. Frankly, I wrote it, but I don't know what they called it. I think it's a personal guide, but it might be routines depending on where you are. Routines, I think that might be a new app feature where they're trying to give people access to the personal guide if they don't want to read the whole personal guide. I think we're trying to do some shortcuts.
Oh,
You know, I'm delightfully not in charge of formatting the app, so I don't know.
okay. I figure out where to get that personal guide. Okay.
Well, it's okay. You go on the website. If you're on a computer, go on the website. Right now, I don't know, I'm asking them to change it. There's this thing called Start Now. Hit Start Now. And then you get some white thing and scroll down. And as you scroll down, you'll see Download Personal Guide. If you go further, you'll see Download Microdosing Guide. Both of them are available there. It's a little bit different if you use a smartphone, but people would usually download using a computer. You all good, Mar?
I'm searching. I'm on the
Okay.
site.
Okay, click Start Now on the home
Yeah, I
page.
did.
And you got a bunch of white page things, scroll.
Yep.
Okay, and you're going to bump into, hey, download the personal guide. And a little bit further down, download microdosing guide. We're good? Okay. For all of you that have joined in person, thank you very much. There are a great, well, not great, a significantly greater number of people that have also joined in, and they'll be watching either silently, you got it? Thank you, Marlon. Or be watching because these are recorded for free viewing whenever you want. Also, as I said before, as I say adieu, that if you want to reach out at a more personal level, Javier, I've invited you to do that because of your son. Ian, we already have it rolling. Tim, anytime you want to knock coconuts, please do. And everybody else, Sam, thank you very much. All right. All right. All the best from Thailand. See you guys later.